Let me ask you something. Have you ever typed out a message in English, read it back 3 times, then deleted it because you weren't sure if it was correct? Have you ever stayed quiet in a conversation, even though you had something to say, because you were afraid of making a mistake? Have you ever finished a conversation in English and spent the next hour replaying it in your head, cringing at every small error?
If you said yes to any of those, this video is for you. And I want you to know, you are not alone. This is one of the most common struggles English learners face, at every single level. But today, I want to challenge something you've probably believed for a long time. The idea that your English needs to be perfect before you can really use it. Because I'm here to tell you, it doesn't. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why. Let's go.
Here's a question I want you to sit with for a moment. When was the last time you had a conversation with someone, in any language, where every single sentence was grammatically flawless? Think about it. Even in your own native language, you stumble. You restart sentences. You use the wrong word and correct yourself. You trail off. You say and you know and what's the word all the time. And nobody thinks less of you for it. Nobody stops the conversation and says, actually, that sentence structure was incorrect. It just flows. Because communication is not about perfection. It's about connection.
The same is true in English. The goal of language, any language, is to transfer meaning from one person to another. And you do not need perfect grammar to do that. Think about the most memorable conversations you've ever had. Were they memorable because of flawless sentence structure? Or because of the ideas, the emotion, the connection? Exactly.
Now let me tell you something about native English speakers that might surprise you. Native speakers make mistakes constantly, every single day. They say between you and I when it should be between you and me. They mix up who and whom. They use literally when they mean figuratively. They end sentences with prepositions. They say could of instead of could have.
And nobody cares. Conversations keep moving. Friendships stay intact. Business deals get done. Life goes on. Because the people listening are not grading you. They are not sitting there with a red pen. They are simply trying to understand what you mean. And if they do, the communication was a success. Here's a reality check. Most of the grammar rules you're terrified of breaking? Native speakers break them every single day without even noticing. So why are you holding yourself to a higher standard than the people whose language you're learning?
Let me introduce you to a concept called communicative competence. It was developed by linguist Del Hymes back in the 1970s, and it completely changed how language experts think about fluency. The idea is this: being good at a language is not just about knowing the rules. It's about knowing how to use the language effectively in real situations. It's about reading the room, choosing the right tone, knowing when to be formal and when to be casual, understanding what's implied even when it's not said directly.
All of that matters far more than whether your verb tenses are always spot on. A person who can walk into a job interview, hold a confident conversation, tell a good story, and make the other person laugh, that person is fluent. Even if they occasionally mix up he and him. Even if their accent is strong. Even if they pause to search for a word. Fluency is functional. It's about what you can do with the language, not how perfectly you follow the rule book.
Now I want to talk about fear, because this is really at the heart of it. Fear of mistakes doesn't just make you quiet, it actually makes your English worse. Here's why. When you're afraid of making errors, your brain goes into a kind of protective mode. Instead of reaching for the most natural, expressive word, you reach for the safest one, the one you're most sure about, the one that feels small enough to be correct.
So instead of saying, I'm absolutely exhausted, this week has been relentless, you say, I am very tired, safe, correct, but flat, lifeless, and actually less effective at communicating how you really feel. Fear shrinks your language. Courage expands it.
The learners who grow the fastest in English are not the ones who study the most grammar rules. They are the ones who are willing to be imperfect out loud. They make mistakes. They get corrected or they self-correct and they move forward. Every mistake you make in English is your brain forming a new neural pathway. It is literally learning happening in real time. The mistake is not the failure. Staying silent is the failure.
Let me share something with you. Some of the most influential and respected English speakers in the world are not native speakers. Elon Musk was born in South Africa and grew up speaking Afrikaans. Arnold Schwarzenegger came to America speaking almost no English. Malala Yousafzai delivers powerful speeches in English as her second language. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, one of the most celebrated writers of our generation, uses English as her literary language, and her prose is considered some of the most beautiful in the world. None of these people waited until their English was perfect. They used it. They pushed through the discomfort. They let their ideas be bigger than their fear of imperfection.
And here's something I find absolutely fascinating. Many non-native English speakers are actually easier to understand than some native speakers, because they speak more deliberately, more clearly. They choose their words with care. They don't rush. They don't mumble. Your accent, your occasional pause to find a word, your careful way of constructing a sentence, these are not weaknesses. They are often signs of someone who takes communication seriously.
So what does this actually mean for how you practice? It means the goal shifts. Instead of asking, was that sentence correct? You start asking, did I get my meaning across? Instead of, did I use the right tense? You ask, did the conversation keep moving? This doesn't mean grammar doesn't matter. It does. Good grammar helps you be understood more easily, and it becomes important in formal writing, professional emails, presentations. There's a time and place for precision.
But in conversation, in everyday communication, the bar is connection, not perfection. So here's what I want you to do differently starting today. When you're in a conversation in English and you make a mistake, keep going. Don't stop. Don't apologize. Don't freeze. Just keep the conversation moving. The other person almost certainly understood you, and if they didn't, they'll ask you to clarify. That's what conversations are for.
When you're writing a message or an email, write it, read it once, and send it. Not 3 times. Not to a grammar checker first. Once. Send it. You are not being graded. And when you catch yourself thinking, my English isn't good enough yet, replace that thought with this. My English is good enough for right now, and it's getting better every time I use it. Let me give you a little reframe that I think can change everything. Think about a child learning to walk. A toddler does not stand up, take one step, fall down, and then decide walking is not for them. They don't look around at the other kids walking and think, I'm too embarrassed to try because I might fall. They fall hundreds of times. They get back up hundreds of times. And at no point does anyone say, you know, maybe walking just isn't for you. Because falling is not failure. Falling is part of the process.
Your mistakes in English are your falls. They are not signs that you can't do this. They are signs that you are doing this. You are in the process. You are learning. The only learners who don't make mistakes are the ones who never try. And the ones who never try never improve.
So fall. Get back up. Keep walking. Here's one more thing I want to leave you with. The version of you that speaks perfect English, the one with zero accent, zero errors, zero hesitation, that person doesn't exist. Not for you. Not for me. Not for anyone.
Because even if you reached that impossible standard tomorrow, the language would have already moved on. New slang, new expressions, new ways people are talking. English is a living thing. It evolves constantly. Even native speakers are always catching up.
So the finish line you've been running toward? It was never really there. What is there? What's real? And what's waiting for you? Is a version of yourself that speaks English confidently, imperfectly, authentically, with your own voice, your own personality, your own story behind every sentence. That version of you is so much more interesting than a grammatically perfect robot. And that version of you is closer than you think. So the next time you feel that fear creeping in, the voice that says, don't speak, you'll make a mistake. I want you to remember this. Your English doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be yours. It needs to be used. It needs to be heard.
So use it. Speak, write, try, fall, get back up. English Playground is here every step of the way. If this video resonated with you, please give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more learners just like you. Subscribe to English Playground so you never miss a new lesson. And drop a comment below telling me, what's one situation where fear of mistakes has held you back? I read every single comment and I'd love to hear your story. See you in the next one.